When I first arrived, pupils in Year 6 and Year 5 particularly were very dissatisfied with the education they were getting, and you could see that in their attitude. They didn't want to be involved in the school. They were too big and cool to be at this school. If I asked them something, what? No, quite a lot of disrespect, no participation, no pride in the school at all.
And it wasn't just the attitude of the older children that had Val Cyan concerned.
I was upset by looking at children at the age of 5 and 6 sitting for most of the day, being subjected to 3-part lessons every day, every week of the day for every lesson of their primary career.
The head knew that radical change was required. She decided that her model would be to make the children independent learners, to allow them to control their own education.
And we'll have a think about what we would like to learn about the light and dark, what we'd like to know. So once I know the questions, we can then start looking for the answers, OK? Can you make it a slash then?
They do not need the teacher to be dictating the pace or when they do things. What they do need the teacher for is to be alongside them, challenging, moving their targets forward, talking to them, discussing their work.
I think there are a lot of elements to independent learning, and during a meeting before the summer, we tried to summarise independent learning, and we found it virtually impossible to do that. But I think for me, the way I sort of view independent learning at this school is giving the children the opportunity to work in a way where they can excel and work in a way which they enjoy, and therefore will do the best they can. So not just asking the children to write most of the day and draw a little bit of the day, but to think for themselves and work out themselves what is their strength and what are their development points, and to work towards their strength, but also to keep working with the development points as well.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to put that one over here. Why does lightning come before thunder?
Basically, we looked at what children would need for life and decided that it was our job to educate them to do that.
That means a fundamental reappraisal of what a teacher is and what a teacher does.
You are no longer a teacher, you're a facilitator of learning. You're there to help the children learn, not to hold the pen and be at the board and have full control. That can be quite a liberating experience for a teacher, to stand and see the children learn for themselves.
Change on that scale can be difficult to implement, with understandable resistance from staff.
I didn't announce the big plan. I was pretty crafty about it because I knew that people would leave in droves. It's too scary to go from 3-part lessons to maybe 30 individual children doing something different all day. That is too much of a culture shock. But basically, I think the staff are a class. I'm a teacher, and that's how I treat them. So I know their strengths, I know their weaknesses, I know when they need to be encouraged, I know when they're doing something well. So we recognised people's strengths and worked on the practice that was already in school.
So I want you to think now of something that might have that circuit inside it, something that needs a light bulb. So would have a circuit inside it. And where else do we see light bulbs? Abby?
In a shop.
In a shop, excellent.
So how did the staff react to the death of the 3-part lesson and handing control over its replacement to the pupils?
As teachers, we're renowned for running a strict, very structured day, very structured life in a way. Because of the job that we do, work starts at a certain time, playtime is at a certain time, and everything is very structured. We do literacy in the morning, we do numeracy in the morning, we do PE in the afternoon, and the national curriculum created that really, as individualised learning creates flexibility and change, constant flexibility, and that can be something that's quite a scary situation to be in, and it's just allowing it to happen. Right guys, our minute is up. If you want to sit and listen back. Right, I've heard some very, very good ideas.
That's right, yeah.
And what about the pupils? They can be as conservative and change-resistant as any teacher.
I think the children have surprised themselves, actually. When I first started this, we literally were on national curriculum for one term, came back after the holidays, and we were on individualised learning. The whole curriculum was turned upside down in a way. And there was one particular child that literacy was the remark as the text came out on a Monday morning. And by the end of the year, when we finished a topic about fairy tales, was absolutely bowled over, completely taken over by this topic, to the point where he'd made a gingerbread man for his homework and brought it in as an example of a fairy tale. And just to see somebody love learning is a fantastic experience.
As we saw in the previous programme, the changes have been achieved successfully. The school's gone from a satisfactory Ofsted to an outstanding Ofsted, a remarkable shift in fortunes. But it didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen easily.
No, it hasn't been plain sailing. You can imagine the first time you offer 30 children almost a free rein. You get the children who complete nothing over 3 days. They're wandering around having a great time but not actually doing anything. And then you've got the perfectionists who will choose to do their favourite activity first, and it will take them hours and hours to do. You'll have the children who put off their least favourite activity to last and never get round to it.
That is absolutely brilliant. Can you now put some labels on the word bulb and a battery and a wire? They're on the board if you need them.
But usually that takes about 5 weeks, because as the teacher gets to know those children, he or she can pull them in and say, come and work with me, or I advise you to do that task first because we know you don't like that one. Until after a 6 week of maybe uncomfortable time, the whole class is up and running. And then what you have after 6 weeks is 29 other educators in the room. You've got a list of resources around you, and you become the facilitator. Whereas for the first 6 weeks, you are the manager in that classroom, trying to organise 30 individuals doing their own thing. And I can imagine after 3 weeks, you could be at the point of, tearing your hair out, thinking this just isn't going to work.
Right, guys, so if you're doing your non-fiction booklets, would you like to go and get everything you need and carry on with that from this morning? If you've chosen to do the patchwork quilts, can you guys stay on the carpet? Because Mrs. Lauder's got a story she wants to read you before you start your work. And if you've chosen to do the Indian Rangoli design, I'd like you to move over there.
One other big change at the school, which underpins the independent learning ethos, is to its behaviour policy. A strict, even rigid policy is seen as essential if the freedoms enjoyed in the classroom are to flourish.
I think the discipline is absolutely crucial. That a teacher needs to be able to bring the class back whenever they need to, whether it's to give further instructions, whether it's to talk about something a child's done really well, give some information, give some advice, whatever reason. The teacher needs to stop the class. The teacher needs to be able to be 100% sure that that class will stop when they want them to stop.
You can work on the table, you can work on the carpet, it's up to you this afternoon, OK? Away you go, guys.
Now, if you have clear expectations and you communicate those really clearly and children are succeeding in following them, then you can build relationships as well. And when you've built relationships, you've got better behaved children, and when you've got better relationships, you can trust children to do more, and you can trust them to make choices about their learning when it comes to individualised learning.
Was brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. OK.
I've never heard a teacher shout within 5 years. I don't expect them to. The behaviour system doesn't run on what mood the teacher's in that day. It's very clear cut. And so the children work through the hierarchy, resulting in that after 5 warnings, I will ring their parents at home. And I've done that twice in 5 years. So what we have is a very high standard, and our children are getting warnings in this school for something that would be ignored in another school. That took us 18 months to get right.
The ethos of independence stretches beyond the classroom. Children are allowed to take on roles previously seen as exclusively adult territory.
Can I help you?
Initially, we sort of dictated the jobs that we would like done in school, which would make our life easier and give the children a sense of responsibility. So when they saw other jobs in place, like answering the telephone at lunchtime and running the friendship stop in the playground, helping the other children, doing wet playtime duty they do for us as well, the children started to look at their own strengths and talents and think, yeah, I've got something to offer here and I'd like to take part in helping this school be even more successful and play in my bit. So the children come with their ideas, they have to plan them all out, tell me exactly what they're going to do, how they're going to run events, their behaviour management, the sort of expectations they're going to have. They will be trained for 1 or 2 sessions and then they'll do what teachers do, they have to be watched to see how they manage and lead the group. And then after that, they've got a free rein and they do it so competently. I am so proud of the input that children put into this school.
Perhaps the ultimate example of the independence granted to children at the school is the Lunchtime ICT Club. It's run by Year 6 pupils and there are no teachers present.
Today we're going to be learning a new topic about animals and plants and things like that.
That is just the fantastic culmination of the sort of things that go on in this school. Like I said, the emphasis is on real teamwork and education isn't something that's done to our children. They take part in the whole system. So again, we've worked really hard on climate and ethos and culture within this school. The children know they've got a significant part to play. And when they come to me with such ideas as can we run an ICT club at school for younger children, because 1, we'd like to teach them, and 2, we feel as though we've got something to offer, and we'll snap it up with both hands.
They're puzzles, they're recipes that you can make from wildlife, like berries and things like that. That's things that you can make when you print it off. That's what you can colour in when you print it off, and they're the games that you can play online.
You don't notice there's a teacher missing because they're so organised, they're so in control, and the children just love being taught by other children. The responsibility that it instills just has to be seen to be believed, really.
I'm like part of it and I get to help them and everything, and I like helping people, and I like going on, I like doing computer and things, and I'm really good at it.
In my classroom, if you need to put your hand up and go to my teacher and talk, but they come around so you all get a chance to do what you want to go on.
I think not a week goes by without me being moved to tears for their contribution and their attitude. Years of work have gone into it, but when a child notices that you're not well, when they compliment you and thank you for a lesson, when they do what they do with such compassion and enthusiasm and pride, they want to be the best they can be. They are going to be fantastic contributors to society. They really think, they really care, and I can stand there with so much pride knowing that the team and I have done a fantastic job with these children, and we're going to be so proud of the adults that they become.